Let's continue with this discussion, and for more on this, Ciaran Browne joins me now live from Belfast in the UK. He's an Associate Professor of Conflict Resolution and Reconciliation at Trinity College. Welcome to the programme. Brendan, where do you think Israel's military strategy stands now?
Well, thanks very much. I'm delighted to join you again from Ireland. It's hard to know exactly. I mean, you've heard from your previous reporter that the goal here is to eradicate Hamas, and allegedly that's been the goal from the beginning. But we need to be very clear. I mean, when you look at the sheer size of destruction that has gone on in the Gaza Strip up until this point, the absolute devastation of the entire civilian architecture in the Gaza Strip, the mass displacement of civilians, it's hard to know exactly what the military strategy has been all along. And any idea that you will simply be able to bomb Hamas out of existence, I think, is really optimistic and pie in the sky thinking. I don't believe that is a sensible strategy at all, and I don't think it'll bear any fruit whatsoever.
And Brendan, they do seem, well, the Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant seems to believe that Hamas is on the verge of dissolution. That's what he's said, and that the Israeli military is taking over its last strongholds. What do you make of that?
Well, I read a few reports in other international media outlets that said that that was, and I quote, wildly optimistic. I mean, the Israeli population need to see some kind of exit strategy here. They need to see some kind of end goal here. I mean, it's very, very clear in the court of public opinion across the world that the Israeli reputation, the government's reputation, the military reputation has been severely, severely damaged. I read a very interesting article recently, a couple of days ago, in The Nation, which said that it's abundantly clear that Israel has lost this war when it comes to political will, when it comes to goodwill around the world. So, I mean, I would suggest that this is an attempt at an exit strategy to get out of Gaza. I mean, the losses that have been sustained by the Israeli military themselves are quite significant as well. I mean, nothing, absolutely nothing compared to the sheer devastation that has been meted out on the civilian population, of course. So it seems to me that there's a certain amount of hubris and bravado that's coming across in some of these statements, and also division between the government itself, which is a very fractious conglomerate of different viewpoints.
Brendan, hubris and bravado, and yet 138 Israeli hostages, their own people, still there in Gaza. They failed, haven't they? This is more than 60 days into this war, and still their own people are there.
Yeah, and I mean, when hostages, that is an awful situation. I think of all of the hostages as well that are languishing in the colonizers' prison cells across the West Bank, and the 2.3 million Gazans that live as hostages in the Gaza Strip as well. And I think all hostages should be going home and should be brought home regardless. And that should be something that is the focal point moving forward, but also the breaking of this apartheid settler colonial regime. That needs to be the focal point. Gaza needs to have the opportunity to live and breathe and grow, and the siege absolutely needs to come to an end. So whether or not they failed or succeeded, I'm not going to speculate on that, but you would think there would be a more delicate approach.
Indeed. And on the point of hostages, as you say, also the Palestinian prisoners, also absolutely, that is the word, hostages too. Do you see Israel and Hamas going back to the negotiating table?
Well, at the moment, it's hard to see that, and the Qatari mediators who played a key role, obviously, at the start when it came to facilitating the dialogue around the hostage releases, as we saw before, have said that the window of opportunity for a return to negotiations is closing rapidly. I mean, until there is a shift in terms of the inoculation that the Israelis receive in the international community by way of the United States vetoing calls for a ceasefire, until that changes, I don't think there'll be enough pressure really to push the Israeli government into negotiations. Now, I think that needs to happen really quickly. But the key thing in all of this is a dismantling of the apartheid reality that allows or permits 2.3 million Gazans in Palestine to live under these brutal siege conditions. And of course, when we talk about the reality in Palestine, let's not also forget what's going on across the West Bank.
Correct.
At the same time. An enabled and emboldened settler community are running wanton and reckless and causing destruction there as well. So we need to connect these two things, and if we're going to get any meaningful resolution whatsoever.
Absolutely, and we'll be live there very shortly. Thank you so much, Brendan. Ciaran Browne joining us there from Trinity College. Thank you.